Let's bring in former CDC Director Dr. Robert Redfield. Dr. Redfield, I think that there's some problems in America with trust in institutions, including with health professionals. And then when you have the White House and the CDC saying two different things about not even knowing that the variant was going to be a problem when the CDC director says it was. Just want to read to you one more thing from Vice President Harris, in which she said, "We didn't see Delta coming. I think most scientists did not, upon whose advice and direction we have relied, didn't see Delta coming. We didn't see Omicron coming." And that's the nature of what this awful virus has been, which, as it turns out, has mutations and variants. But, sir, we've learned enough that everybody knows that you have mutations and variations. They knew on November 8th when the South Africans said that there's a variant here. I don't understand how they can say that they were caught off guard. Maybe you could help me figure that out.
Well, Dana, I think you're right. Clearly, the nature of this virus is it's going to keep changing and have new variants. Those variants are going to be important in that they're going to gain transmission advantage. I think on one of the shows on Fox about 4 or 5 months ago, I said that we should anticipate in the next 2 to 5 months a new variant that's more transmissible than Delta. That's in fact what happened. And I will say now that in the next 6 months, we should anticipate another variant that's more transmissible than Omicron. That's just the nature of this virus. It's going to continue to evolve and seek a transmission advantage. That transmission advantage now in a population that's largely been infected in the past or vaccinated is going to be a transmission advantage in people that have some evidence of immunity from infection or vaccine, and that's in fact what we're seeing, unfortunately.
On your screen, everyone, you're seeing these very long lines of people that are lining up to get a test. It was 30 degrees yesterday in New York. Some people waited up to 4 hours, as reported on the daily podcast this morning from the New York Times. And the frustration of not being able to get a test, it's at a fever pitch, because especially as people want to get back to seeing their family this Christmas in just a few days, many of them, they've listened to the experts. They want to be safe, so they want to get a test so they can make sure that they're going to protect their loved ones at home. They can't get a test. Can't get tests at home. You go to the store, they're all out, and now they're going to send tests to people in January, mid-January. I think that the frustration of the administration, the failure on the test, is reaching a fever pitch, sir.
Well, I think it's really important that this nation does not have the testing capability it needs. I've said that, my estimate, and it's strictly an estimate, is the nation needs at least 1 billion tests a month to meet the need. Remember, testing is not just for clinical purposes. Testing is really a fundamental tool for our public health response. Routine, regular, repetitive testing, for example, which I've advocated in schools, K through 12, twice a week, where students can go to school, they can stay in school, and twice a week they get tested. Those students that are not infected stay in school. Those students that are infected, we find the silent epidemic, we pull it out of the school, and we move forward with schools that do have a case with what we call test and stay rather than sending people home. But this is going to require significant testing capability. Unfortunately, that as we enter the 3rd year of this pandemic, our nation still hasn't developed the private-public partnerships required to give our nation the testing that we need. And I was encouraged by the president saying and highlighting that testing is a need now, and I hope that they address this with a high degree of urgency and get the testing, not to how many tests we can give out, 500 million, but the real question is how many tests do we need? And I would argue that's between 1 and 2 billion tests a month, and we need to get to that.
Yeah, I think that they will probably pay attention because the headlines for them this morning on testing across the country are really bad. You mentioned schools. I just wanted to point this out. So the protocol from the CDC is that if you test positive, you have to isolate for 10 days, even if you don't feel sick. So I'm curious if you think, as Dr. Fauci mentioned yesterday, that maybe the CDC should revise that so that people aren't out for 10 days, because some schools are already planning to go remote for all of January. Do you think that's necessary?
Well, first, for the schools, I think they really ought to look at CDC's recent recommendations on Friday for the idea of test and stay. So when you have a case in a school, you test the students that aren't infected stay in school. Secondly, when we look at the recommendations for isolation post-infection, really right now it is that if you're tested negative at day 5 or day 7 following your symptoms starting, or when you got diagnosed if you had no symptoms, that you can really get back at day 8. If you don't do any testing, it's day 10. And I don't think we're going to probably get much narrower than that. I think the way to go is what I've mentioned before, is to test and stay. The way to go is start routine, regular, repetitive testing in groups that have high transmission risk. So you just test them twice a week and pull out the individuals that are asymptomatically infected. I think that's the direction we need to go. I will say one thing. It's really important at this stage in the pandemic that we take advantage of knowledge of infection. I said before, it reminds me of my early years in the AIDS epidemic when people said you don't need to know if you're infected or not, just wear a condom. We need to know who's infected and who isn't. And the way we're going to do that is wide-scale, repetitive testing to find the silent epidemic and pull them out of the transmission cycle.
Well, hopefully that will happen. But right now, today, I think there's a lot of frustrated people who want to travel, who want to make sure that they're safe, and they can't get those tests. And as you pointed out, sir, we're in year 3 of the pandemic at this point. I wish you a very Merry Christmas. Thank you for coming on the show.